What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast. We're going to talk a lot about that game against the Washington Nationals last night because this episode is going to come out randomly during the middle of the day. But we also have some prospect call-ups. We kind of hinted at this last week when we put out our episode talking about who could be making a spot start. We've got Zach Thornton making his first Major League debut on Wednesday, and then Nick Morabito called up in to replace Austin Slater. We made it. We did it, guys. Austin Slater era is over. Before we get going into everything in this episode, make sure you are subscribed to Mets'd so you don't miss out on any of the content over here on YouTube. And if you are listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. Give us a good review. We're going to do some review shout-outs in the next episode. So after the National Series ends, review shout-outs. Make sure you drop us 5 stars over there. James, that game last night felt amazing. I know we have the call-ups to talk about, but I feel like we do have to talk about that insane extra inning game with the Mets.
No, that game, especially if things actually do meaningfully change for this Mets team, which feels like is relatively possible right now. Again, keep saying that the math is not in our favor, but you're at least winning some games right now, so we'll see what can happen. It's still so early in the season. It just felt like that one that could go into the Mets lore of like, this was an insane game. If you watch that game, like you kind of lived like 3 lives during it. I started that game when I was literally in Florida, and when I watched I watched an hour and a half of it after I got home from LaGuardia. Like it was just, shout out to American Airlines, no free ads, but like their free Wi-Fi, I could stream the entire game on my phone.
Nice.
It was unbelievable, but I just can't believe how many different games existed in that game. Like Christian Scott's disaster inning when he hit Jacob Young with the 0-2 pitch was like 3.5 hours before this game even ended. We got heroics from Huascar Brasban. I didn't even know if he was going to be available in that game. Like same with Luke Weaver. Like it was, and like the one guy who didn't pitch well against besides Christian Scott was Brooks Raley, who's been nails the entire season. He has his first bad inning against just a fleet of left-handed batters. Like it was such a bizarre, strange game, but just so nice to see every single guy chip in for a big win.
It felt like a very cathartic win for the Mets, which is insane to say about beating a Nationals team that we did think would be towards the bottom of this division, but is currently ahead of us right now. But the idea that it felt like every single guy that got into the game made some sort of contribution to this team, which is really exciting for a roster that for the first month and a half of this season, nobody was making any contributions besides Juan Soto, basically. So it's like to see Bichette have a 3-hit game, to see Bichette get an extra base hit, not just one, but get 2 extra base hits with the home run and the double, to see Juan Soto do what Juan Soto does. Carson Benge continues to play inspired baseball, good baseball. Marcus Semien, AJ Ewan, Tyrone Taylor, who I thought was going to be DFA'd very soon, you can't kill Tyrone every time you're about to. He just says, what if I start playing good baseball again? Even Hayden Sanger getting a hit in this game. Like, a lot of really good things going on. Vidal Brujan with the bunt. I love to see that the Mets are just playing quality baseball. Again, wins and losses, we want wins right now, but from a zoom out, the baseball that they're playing is good.
It is good. It's been good, and there's a lot of little things that happened in this game and the whole weekend against the Yankees. You're like, oh, these are the signs of a once again healthy baseball team. Not healthy in the sense of like physically healthy.
No, never.
Healthy like in the way that they're like doing things. And I tweeted about it because there was that big double, but it's a big single. I can't remember the exact play right now. Oh no, it was the fly ball by Bichette when you had Luis Torrens and Carson Benge on first and second base.
Yes.
That was the 3rd or 4th inning. And it was another lazy fly ball by Bichette, and I think that came right after he got picked off the inning before. Maybe he got picked off the inning after.
About now, yeah.
And I was mad about that. But again, we'll get to that in a second. But when Soto got that go-ahead single in the 5th after Christian Scott had blown the lead, like Luis Torrens decided to tag up on that pop-up to right field on James Wood. It was one of the best arms in baseball. Luis Torrens, one of the slowest players in baseball. The aggressiveness of him to do that, and then like the heads-up nature of Carson Benge to follow when that throw went all the way through the 3rd to set up a nice seeing eye single by Juan Soto to take the lead. That's good quality baseball, the kind of thing we've been like begging for and feel like we've been missing most of the season. Now we're doing that. We're being aggressive, and it really again, this game changed 25 other times after this, but in that moment, that changed the game.
Like, I've been unbelievably critical of Mendoza, but I will be positive when there are things going well. It feels like they're playing baseball again. Like you said, like that tag up right there, that's playing some ball right there. Luis Torrens and this Mets team right now is hurt. It is not the strongest it's supposed to be. This is not the iteration of the roster that we thought it was. But doing those little things is what can be the difference in this game. The reason that the Mets even were able to get to extra innings is because of these little things that they're doing. And like you said, Soto then gets that hit, puts it through the hole. We score 2 instead of maybe scoring 1. That's how you win baseball games when you don't necessarily have the best roster. And just the fact that they're playing cleaner baseball, more fundamentally sound baseball, doing the little things on top of hitting home runs, which again, hitting home runs always wins baseball games. That's what I love to see. It is a much, much, much more watchable version of the New York Mets than we saw even a week and a half ago.
Yeah, significantly so. And even Bo, who had the big home run, his first extra base hit in 3 weeks, he got
Pull the baseball, Bo Bichette.
That was the one. It was his first. I think was that his first pulled home run of the year. I think it actually was.
So,
the 3 he has, because the other one he squeaked that one right into the right by the right field foul pole. And the other one I think he also put in that same spot. But he had the huge hit in the 12th inning before the floodgates opened. Again, later in the inning, everyone got fat on Jordan Vivas. Actually, I think except Soto, I want to see. Yeah, Soto popped up on him, which is honestly kind of hilarious. But that game still was relatively hanging in the balance. Like Hayden Sanger sack bunts in the first pitch of the inning to Paxton Schultz. I think we've pieced up Paxton Schultz before. But
I'll find it. I mean, the name sounded familiar, and he just got absolutely eviscerated by this Mets roster.
And then Carson Benge, again, for some reason, extra innings, this guy just loves a squeaker that scores a huge run. But you're still, as we saw in the first couple extra innings, one run doesn't really mean much in modern extra inning baseball. But then Bo puts one through the hole, and that gets everything kind of moving again. Like that was a situation where, as we've seen Bo Bichette this season, that's a play that he makes an out, and everything feels like a catastrophe.
Yes.
But for him to extend that inning and get at that moment the big hit, then all of a sudden, bang, over and over and over and over and over again, everybody got in on it. But that was a huge game by Bo Bichette. It really was.
I even like a little bit of the chaos, too, where, like, extra innings Vidal Brujan comes into pinch run, which, smart way to use the bench, Carlos Mendoza. Mark Vientos was the extra runner, or was the ghost runner. Bring in Vidal Brujan because we need that speed. That run is very, very important. And then when Brujan gets his turn at bat, little crazy safety squeeze with him. Chaos baseball. Shout out Chris from Escuela de Nada, friend of the podcast. He texts me, goes, Caribbean baseball right there. I love that shit. And it's like, yeah, Vidal Brujan, like, relatively stinks. But, like, doing that shit, be an agent of chaos if that's going to be your role. I like that it feels like we're starting to use our head here a little bit. Brett Baty moved to first because we didn't have a first baseman. You move Bo Bichette back to third. You put Brujan at short. Using the roster to its fullest, this is something I didn't even think was possible this year.
Baty also made an insane play right when he came in the game at first base. Also,
Oscar Brazoban almost.
Yeah, but it was just I couldn't. First of all, yeah, that pick, and then also to throw the ball and get it within 1 inch of Joey Wiemer's ear into Vidal Brujan at short, which was like, whoa. And Keith was gushing over it. Just the aggressive nature and the confidence it takes for a first baseman who just entered the game to make that play. Vientos also made a nice play the inning before to make a clean throw home to also help Oscar Brazoban get out of that. It was, again, keep saying it, completely all hands on deck game. And on top of this, again, more of that. Austin Warren. Like, what the hell? Like, this was...
We called it last year. When we did our 2025 New York Mets players tier list, we put Austin Warren in the S tier. I think it was like him, Juan Soto, some other, like, actually, Francisco Lindor. Yeah. And Austin Warren. And we kind of did it as a joke, but also we were like, when he was here, he pitched well. And what do you know? Austin Warren, 2 scoreless innings after Christian Scott kind of scuffles through this one. Not his best start again. 0.61 ERA on the year. And it's a small sample, but Austin Warren's now throwing, like 20 innings, close to 20 innings this year, and he's just
15.
15. And he's just been absolutely dynamite with stuff that isn't dynamite by any means, but it's just, he attacks. I love it. Let the defense play behind you.
No, he's freak of nature, but it's also nice for someone like him to be like, yeah, I'll give you 30 pitches right now. Like, I'll be able to bridge this game. And then, like, it's funny that now in this game, pitches thrown by relievers. It was Austin Warren 28, Brooks Raley 23, Tobias Myers 25, Luke Weaver 19, Oscar Brazoban 22, and Craig Kimbrell 24. Like, there was no really clean innings for these guys.
And Craig Kimbrell's still doing the Craig Kimbrell stuff. He still doesn't look good.
I can't believe he's on the roster today. I thought he'd get cut for an extra reliever because we don't know who's going to pitch the rest of the series for either of these teams. But which is again why such a lame move. But like, I guess I understand it. But to go to a position player in extra innings, that was awful.
I mean, it's lame, but I think maybe you and Gary were also freaking out too much about it. Like, you never want to give up a game, but that game was over. And for the Nationals, like, that was the exact moment to play for tomorrow. Be like, you know what, you guys got this one. Score 100 runs in the 12th. We don't care. We're going to try and have as many arms as available as possible.
It's gross.
The only reason that it is lame is because now the Nationals have turned a loss into an advantage by being able to use a position player like that. But also at the same time, get fat. Eat. Make sure this game's over. Put it away. And the Mets did.
And shout out Blake Butera for knowing a rule that it seemed like the umpires did not, that you're allowed to go to the position player in extra innings with a 5-run deficit, but in regulation, it's an 8-run deficit.
Well, think about it. Like, if you were to go, like, 15, it's
Yeah.
like, what are you going to force a pitcher to pitch because the game's close?
Yeah, no, it's still a weird look, still a weird vibe situation there. Also, I mean, Brett Baty hit the bomb. Marcus Semien put a bunch of balls in the right spots. Good
Brett
sack
Baty,
fly.
He's so back now that he's playing third base. That
is
home
crazy.
run he hit was absolutely peace. That's like the kind of power and the just like raw hit ability that we saw with Brett Baty for so long that has made us so excited, where he will just take you to center field 450 and make it look effortless. Like when that barrel's catching the baseball, the ball jumps off of his bat so beautifully. It's so fun to watch him hit when he's on.
Amazing note from Gary after that home run. So this was a 36 home run of Brett Baty's career, which feels low, but I guess it hasn't really been that consistent for Brett. It's been
Pretty bad.
This is the first time in his career he hit a home run off the same pitcher twice.
Yes, which is also funny.
Jake Irvin, yeah, which is fun. I feel like
Jake Irvin, who normally dices us up.
We've also gotten around on him a few times. Jake Irvin's feast or famine with him. That's kind of the game. But also, can't believe that's the only second longest home run of Baty's career. Also, the longest was against the Nationals, which I think Gary mentioned as well, which is pretty funny. And now, update after the weekend, the Brett Baty splits by position are stark.
Yes.
So as a third baseman this year, Brett Baty is 260, 362, 440 for an 800 OPS and a 135 OPS plus.
It's like an all-star third baseman right there.
Which is kind of what we saw the hints and the flashes of last season. And also maybe Brett Baty, maybe he's just Dominican at heart. He just can't play in April. That's it. He's not meant for the cold weather. Like that's the game. We gotta send Brett Baty.
Bartolo Beatty.
We gotta send him to the Winter League this year. Have him really get fat in November in the heat. But he looks like a different guy right now. And
Still struck out 3 times.
he struck out 3 times, but strikeouts are always going to be part of Baty's game. That's fine.
Yes.
He's got a fast bat, and he's going to take hacks. And I want him to take hacks. I want him to send one 450 into the dumpster in straight center field.
We love our dog Bella, who splays out in the open sun on our floor like she's an underwear model. And that's why we love her so much, to scratch her belly.
She's a cutie, that Bella. And a quick message from today's sponsor, the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program. If you're frantically looking for what to do with your pup when they have an issue, the program offers customizable accident and illness plans, making it easier to get your pet the care they need. When you enroll in an ASPCA Pet Health Insurance plan, you could get a $25 Amazon gift card. It's a little treat for you while you're doing something great for your pet. To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/FOUL. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/FOUL. Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit aspcapetinsurance.com/Amazon terms for more info. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance.
Also, I'm obsessed with A.J. Ewing. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite players on this team. The at-bats are so consistent. His swing is so consistent. Everything he does feels just like one of the most consistent players that we're going to see. I know he struck out twice in this game, which I think is like second and third strikeout of his major league career, which is so funny because the dude just does really take good at-bats every single time. But to me, one of the best things I did, watching him play in center field, that ball in the gap from Jorbit Vivas in the extra innings,
11th. Yeah.
that ball gets by a lot of center fielders, and he made it look routine. Like, we're talking about, like, PCA, Julio, those level type of guys defensively in center field because they have the speed and that ability to get the jump on the ball. A.J. Ewing cutting that ball off in the gap. Again, he made it look simple, but Keith was even talking about it, goes, ball gets in the gap, it's over. He made it look easy.
And another thing funny early in this game, so trying to catch a plane stream, I had to kind of switch back and forth between Mets and Nationals just to get anything that was going to work on that plane.
Yeah.
And early in the game, the Nationals announcers were talking about the excitement of A.J. Ewing coming up to this team, but they're saying they didn't really have a scouting report on him. And I don't remember who their announcers were, but one of them was like, I really want to see him throw because we're impressed by the other arms this Mets outfield. And they had that play at the plate in I think that was second or third, where whoever was running home, I think it was James Wood, was safe by a few steps.
Yes.
But A.J. Ewing made a strong throw and a ball hit right, I think it was the Drew Millis ball, right back up the middle of center field. And the announcer was like, whoa, 3+ arms in this Mets outfield. He's like, I can't remember the last time I could say that.
I can't remember either.
And that's the truth right now. Don't look at Brandon Nimmo's OPS over the last 35 days. But
Don't look at it from April 4th and don't compare it to Marcus Simeon's. You'd be shocked how similar it is. Just saying.
again, like this is oddly, and now especially like moving out to the next part of this episode here, with these call-ups coming the rest of the series, Nick Morabito and Zach Thornton coming up, this is oddly what we thought this Mets season was going to look like before the January flurry. Before, I mean, even Jorge Blanco, whatever, but like before Luis Robert, even probably before Freddie Peralta came into the fold. We're like, you know what? It seems like there's just going to be a slight reset. It seems like we're going to let the kids play. And with the talent, and Bichette, I forgot. I keep blocking Bichette out of my mind.
Until that OPS starts with
Six?
6, he doesn't exist really.
I'm going to have to stop. Marcus Semien got to 6.
Marcus.
If he just ends the season with like a 682 OPS, God, I'll be thrilled.
That'd be
but
electric.
He's approaching a 7. But
I know.
this is kind of what it felt like. I didn't think we'd see Ewing this early, but I thought we'd see him at some point. Benge just plays good baseball every single day. On base 4 times yesterday. Even his outs were even well struck. His hits were the ones that were kind of dinked and doinked, and he smashed a couple outs, like the one that went right into Luis Garcia's glove at first base. He had another one the other way. It's just. This is fun watching these guys, watching the athleticism, and now again, Thornton and Morabito just keep the youth moving.
Yeah, keep the youth moving. I love to see that the Mets are thinking with their brains now and not trying to do this thread the needle bullshit. Like Morabito's going to come up and play twice a week, and he's going to be a defensive replacement late in games, and he's going to play against
pinch
left-handed
runner.
Pinch runner. But they said, we don't care. He's going to be one of the best players on this team. I kind of mentioned it like a couple weeks ago about how Morabito against lefties is probably just as good as Austin Slater right now against lefties, and he's much better defensively, and he's much faster. So why is he not up if we're going to run that? And we thought it was part of the threading the needle, but now we're seeing that the Mets don't seemingly care about that. Let's go and have the best 26 men on this roster outside the guys who are hurt.
Morabito also has not been great at AAA this year. He started off the season very hot. His May has been incredibly cold. He's swinging and missing more, but maybe that's also a directive from the team. Like, we want to see more power. We want to see you maintain a certain bat speed. The only bat speed data we have on Nick Morabito comes from, the Arizona Fall League this past year, where he was swinging at about 71, which is not that far off the Major League average. At the Arizona Fall League, he had a 440-foot home run, and he had a 112-mile-per-hour max exit velocity. So far this season at AAA, he has a 110 max exit velocity. His 90th percentile and his 50th percentile are in line with AAA averages. He's actually lifting the ball a decent bit. He still doesn't swing and miss. He doesn't swing a ton. His own swing will be low, but I'm fine with a speedy, patient guy who has good bat-to-ball ability doing that. I don't think he's
hit at the bottom of the order every single time he's in the lineup.
Every few days. Like, he's kind of... I'm not seeing Nick Morabito in the same light as like Benge or Ewing, but I see Nick Morabito as a spark plug who is going to have a role on a 26-man roster absolutely for the foreseeable future. And that's an incredibly valuable baseball player and someone that also can continue to grow into the role. He just turned 23 a few days ago, last week or something. But
and
still
he
time.
was like coming out of high school when they drafted him. He was a guy who like played the infield too. Like he's very much an athlete, adaptable, changing, gotten better as the years have gone on in this Mets farm system. So I'm excited that the Mets are finally bringing him up. And again, the Austin Slater era is over because, my God, he's been horrible. And the fact that Mendoza stopped even going to him, I almost think that's like Mendoza telling Stearns, like, dude, he stinks. Like, I'm going to go to all the other guys before I go to Austin Slater. Kind of force Stearns' hand a little bit. If we're not going to use him, get him off the team.
It does kind of seem like there was a bit of a changing of that decision-making process. We alluded to it last week where if David Stearns puts these players on the roster, I think the expectation is the manager will use them because it wasn't Carlos Mendoza put these players on the roster who were not very good and started with Mendoza being very frank with the media about Andy Abani's at third base. Like, that's a play that has to be made as a major leaguer. Cut the next day. All of a sudden, the next day, that first game last week against the Tigers, all the lefties are in against lefties. So it does seem like maybe there's been a bit of a power struggle between those two guys. Whichever side you think either one started on, I think right now the other one is doing more.
Yes, and I do hope that this has caused some more cohesion inside the Mets organization.
a little more synergy here. And I think part of that is also the promotion of Zach Thornton because similar to what we're talking about with Morabito, I don't see Thornton as being a frontline starter for years to come in this rotation. I see him as someone that could be a solid back-to-middle guy if things click.
Almost like what another lefty that came up years ago for the Mets should have been, but then because of the lack of pitching, turned into not being that guy.
Which one?
Well, David Peterson was never supposed to be a frontline starter for this team, but he ended up acting like one because he pitched well, and also the Mets had no pitching for a long time.
Definitely. I'm even hoping for Neese. I want to see John Neese 2.0.
I'd kill for John Neese right now. Man, imagine what this team would do with John Neese on the mound every 5 days.
But Thornton is interesting because he actually does have elements of like a plus fastball with some like legit natural like ride on and then cut. But he still focuses more on like the sinker two-seamer thing he has. But he also doesn't really have a changeup he can rely on, at least not yet.
Okay.
It's a little bit more erratic, but his breaking stuff is good. So he has a very weird repertoire in terms of pitches that usually fit together. The fact that he has a slider that's not super sweepery, but it's also not gyro-y, it's something that he can use against guys on both sides of the plate. His command is quite good, so he's good at back-footing the righties with it. Then he has a curveball that's like a bit of an exaggeration of that slider that just has more sweep usually and more drop on it. But that sinker two-seam thing, he can front door it.
Yeah, which is nice. I love his release point, too, from the left-hand side. It's not one that you typically get a ton. I feel like lefties are more so leaning towards that three-quarter slot. He's very much, if you're like looking at a clock, like 10, 11 o'clock, where sometimes I feel like they get a little bit low, or even between 11 and 12, where it's not fully over the top, but it's right in between there. So those pitches, he's going to get some interesting movement that you don't see a lot of from the left side.
That's what I'm saying. Again, it's weird how the repertoire fits together. It's kind of Jacob Latzy, if you guys are hip with Rangers baseball.
Nice, good call. You like Jacob Latz, don't you?
I do like Jacob Latz. The fact that he's actually moved to a bullpen role this year when he got his fastball just to like 94, when as a starter it was like 91, which is where Thornton sits. He never messes around with any kind of two-seam stuff, though. He just has the true good ride on his fastball. But the slider shape is not that dissimilar from Thornton's. I think his arm angle is a little bit higher. His changeup is a bit more consistent, but I think that's come with more time. Latz is 30. Thornton's, I think, 23, and Latz just broke into the league like last year, which is kind of funny how these left-handed pitchers grow and kind of change and evolve sometimes. But I also think a big reason for this Thornton call-up is just the left-handed nature of this Nationals lineup, more so than the Mets being like, we have to force Zach Thornton in. If we were playing the Astros this week, just to give an example, a very right-handed heavy team,
he would not be pitching.
I think we would have saw like the Jonathan Pitaro, Tobias Myers mixed together, but I think that's, again, Mets playing what you have, adjusting yourself with your situation, and just hopefully making a good, cohesive management decision here.
Yeah, because the Nationals will play a ton of righties, but we're talking about James Wood, C.J. Abrams. That's why he's here, is to go get those guys.
Even Dalen Lyle.
Dalen Lyle, who will also play every single day. That's a good point. But then they're going to, splash in Brady House, Curtis Mead,
Brady House demoted today.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Interesting. Knowing that there's going to be a couple lefties that he's going to face this week. That's interesting. Curtis Mead is officially a Met killer. That guy only plays good against the New York Mets.
Weimer, too, dude. Weimer was so annoying last night.
I love it. Man, not wrong just early about Joey Weimer.
Yeah, but then again, we will see those guys, Mead and Weimer, in the lineup now against the lefty, because Thornton's going to play Wednesday night, correct?
Yes, Wednesday, and then I think he's pitching Peterson Thursday, right?
Yeah, and tonight's Nolan. And more than ever, it's time for Nolan McClain and Freddie Peralta to be aces, because we are churning through the bullpen right now.
Yes, the Mets are doing bullpen like it's the playoffs at the moment.
Yeah, and again, you know why? Because games are really important right now. We have to stack wins, and that's why getting that one, it would have been gut-wrenching to lose on Monday.
Oh, that was one of those where if they lost, I would have been like
sliding doors.
Damn, really feels a lot different. Like coming off that series win against the Yankees, coming off a sweep against the Tigers, felt like you have some momentum, and then to just lose, it would have been like a crushing one to play. Again, relatively good baseball, but lose in extras to the Nationals, then to just smack them. And again, that's kind of the whole motive behind this episode, is not that game against the Nationals was so big we had to talk about it, but the idea of what the Mets have been doing, what the offense did there, the vibes, more of like the bigger picture stuff with the New York Mets, the feeling is something that we wanted to talk about rather than what a great win against the Washington Nationals.
I mean, they still have a better record than us. They have the most runs in the National League still, but it's just, you can just see with these guys, like Benge is having so much fun. He's just become like teen little brother. Shout out our girl Diana. He's just, when Bichette hit the home run, he was just like jumping up and down like he was like a little kid in the dugout.
We need a little bit of that again. We talked about this team sometimes, like we were comparing it to Team USA, where it's like a little too business. Have a little fun. Let's loosen up. Feels like these young guys, a little bit of a jolt, a little bit of energy, a little loosen them up.
And that's also fun with with Benge and Ewing coming together. Like, these guys are homies. They've been playing together for levels and levels and levels. Like, yeah, you get to see a little bit of someone else's personality when one of their best friends is in the room, too.
Yeah, it's crazy what having some guys around that makes you do a little comfortable.
And then Baty playing his original position, even Vientos swinging the bat well, besides that horrible double play. Only guy in the line not to get a hit yesterday once we gave him his tremendous flowers. That's just the classic Park Vientos experience, as always. But just Soto just being an incredibly tough out in the middle. Like, now, again, you see a bit more of the vision and why this team at least had tons of excitement heading in. But still weird stuff about Jorge Polanco. Good news about Francisco Lindor.
Yeah, might play in June.
I don't think Luis Roberts ever played a game for the Mets again.
It feels like he might not.
I don't know about that one. And then just the article from Tacoma being like, he might go on a rehab assignment this week, or he could get surgery and be out until August.
You're like, oh, those feel like two very different things. How do we not know which is which?
Yeah, it's a shame. But again, like this, it's almost like
I don't care.
The January. I kind of care about Polanco. I still think Polanco's bat would be a big deal in this lineup. I thought you meant
Luis Robert. As much as that's my guy. Like, I'm cool with AJ Ewing doing his thing right now and letting him roll.
What's that mean? Relax. Colin Coward. AJ Ewing's here. We're good.
AJ Ewing's here. We're good.
Oh, this team's just fun to watch. Like, I'm excited to watch the Mets tonight, and I haven't really been able to feel or say that in a while.
Look, quick little Knicks Corner.
Oh yeah, I forgot Knicks Corner. Huge game
quick
on tonight.
Knicks Corner. Huge game. Knicks Corner for like under 5 minutes here because we don't want to keep you guys too long. But Mets plus the Knicks tonight, We'll be in the city watching it. This is unbelievable. Eastern Conference Finals against the Cleveland Cavs. Oh,
Eastern Conference Finals is a 7-point favorite in Game 1.
is crazy. I don't love seeing that.
The only reason, I was honestly, when I watched like bits and pieces of Game 7, Cavs, Pistons the other night, do a little scouting, of course, advanced scouting.
Smart guy.
I'd almost gotten to a point where I would rather have played the Pistons and sacrificed the home court advantage because of how absolutely horrifically bad that team looked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Cade Cunningham's not on, they don't have anything else.
Someone put out a funny tweet about the insane Thunder Spurs game for Monday night, where it's like, I think I count 15 different guys that could be the second best player in the Pistons.
Oh yeah, the Pistons. Like, again, we're at a point as Knicks fans. We've made this mistake years and years and years. We don't pick who we want to play. We're not saying I'd rather play this, I'd rather play that, because it has bit us in the ass with the Pacers every single year, seemingly. But that Pistons team, man, they have no second options. It's a little bit ish like the meme of like those dragons, where it's like the third one is like he has like the crazy face. Pistons only have one guy, though. It's Cade Cunningham.
And this Pistons team ran into something that the early iterations of the Tom Thibodeau Knicks ran into, where it's like you can dominate the regular season on effort.
Yes, just play harder than everybody.
When you get to the postseason and players aren't like hungover anymore, and also like double teams come, and like Jalen Duren has to actually make a decision with the ball in his hands, you're like, oh yeah, you're not that guy, pal.
When James Harden stops hitting the strip clubs every single night in the new city.
But that's also why I was like, okay, when you look at this Cavs team, like there are ball players on this Cavs team, and Knicks. The beginning of this new era of the Knicks kind of started with that sweep against the Cavs 3 years ago.
Yes.
When it was considered a pretty even series. I think it was a 4 versus 5. And
even though at the moment, I remember me and you talking about it. I was like,
yeah, like we got them.
We got them. Like 3 years ago, I wanted the Cavs.
Yeah, but again, this team, at least, like Donovan Mitchell has major takeover ability. He could take over a game. If you're in games 1 through 5, James Harden, major takeover ability. He could take over a game. Like Mobley and Jared Allen, for the lack of physicality they bring to a basketball court, like they're both very good basketball players.
Very good basketball players. Even like Jalen Tyson being like a role player side guy.
That guy was on my watch list in the Dynasty League.
Him.
He was on my watch list in the Dynasty League for 2 full years, and I never pulled the trigger. Now he's awesome. Pissed about that.
It's on you.
But again, like they're a good basketball team for sure. I think, funny enough, us and them were the top 2 teams in the East odds wise to go to win the East before this season, and now we're facing each other in the conference finals. It's funny how basketball works. But like you kind of just got to defend the Garden tonight. You win Game 1. You have to get through a game like this where the rust probably doesn't set in, because this team's coming off a 7-game fight, and they're 2 days ago.
Series doesn't start until someone wins on the road. So don't let it start until we get to Cleveland. That's all I'm saying.
And I think OG's going to play, which is crazy sick.
Kinda nuts.
It's fucking awesome. And like I'm excited.
This Knicks team, God.
I want Mitchell Robinson to just body one of these
softer
big men on the Cavs. I get compliment them. Good basketball players. Can't stand the way they play.
No, they play as if they're 6'4".
No, and this is fun. And look, I think someone talked about Dean Wade being a Brunson stopper.
Good. Put Dean Wade on Brunson all night.
I'd like to see. I want as much Dean Wade court time as possible.
Yeah, please.
As long as Sam Merrill doesn't go like 7 for 10 from 3 again, I'm excited for this Knicks team tonight.
Let's go, Knicks. We got Knicks fever. Big night for the orange and blue.
Big
Mets
night.
Keep winning. Knicks win Game 1. And we'll see you guys after the National Series. That'll be the next time we talk to you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to Mets'd over on YouTube if you're listening to us. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Drop us a rating, drop us a review if you want to shout out on the next episode. And subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content. James, where are they going to follow you?
James Shannon, baby.
And I'm Giraffe Nick Mark. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Let's go Mets. Go Knicks.